This is Phil, Mr. Wonderful Davis, and you are listening to Vibe 105. What's happening?
Vibe Talks. More than just music.
Hey everybody, this is Giancarlo Aulino reporting for Vibe 105 with a Sports VIBEtalks segment where we're going to be talking everything Bellator today. To help me out, I'm happy to be joined by my guest. He's going to be competing next Saturday night, Bellator 266. He's a former Bellator Light-Heavyweight champ. He's Phil, Mr. Wonderful Davis. How you doing, Phil?
Doing good. What's going on?
Everything good here in Toronto. Looking forward to this fight with you and Yoel Romero making his debut there in Bellator. When you first heard about this fight, what was your scouting report, I guess, on Yoel, and what were your initial thoughts about it?
No real scouting report. I've seen him fight many times. Big fan of his fighting. He's a crowd pleaser. I love to watch him fight. He comes with not necessarily a predictable game plan, but he comes with the same angle every time.
Yeah, and you're coming off interesting spell there. You did fight for the title against Nemkov. You're coming off that loss. I know it could be tough fighting after that, the title fight, but what did you take away from your second fight against Nemkov?
He was really good on the first half of the fight. Was much better on the back half of the fight, and he's a good champion. He's a good champion. He switched up his attacks from the first fight. Rematches are very interesting. It's a set of ever-changing variables of, will he do the thing again that he did the first time? Because if so, I'm ready for it. But if he doesn't do it, it's just weird. It's just weird. Yeah, it was interesting. Wasn't nearly as much kicking as the first time we fought. We kind of kickboxed a lot more. And the last time we fought, it was pretty much all hands, all punches, and few takedown attempts, and that was pretty much it. So it's just all around interesting.
And how do you especially right now, it's COVID and everything, I don't know what the situation is where you are, but has it been a lot tougher getting prepared for a fight as opposed to obviously pre-pandemic?
Yeah, definitely. The COVID definitely adds interesting, kind of change to the way you train, at least the way things were. But I've been able to secure my training partners, and it in a lot of ways it's kind of made things a lot more direct. I have my guys in the gym from 10 to 12 every day, and outside of that, I'm working on my own. I do a lot of shadow boxing, a lot of working bag. It's been actually really good.
And a lot of fighters have this opinion, as they get older in the sport, maybe they change the way they train. Has there been a big difference in the way you train? You mentioned there's shadow boxing, is hard sparring something you don't like to do now as you, get more years under your belt in the sport?
No, hard sparring is still a thing. It's definitely a thing. I think early on in my career, I needed more sparring. I didn't know, distance and timing and, how to move towards a punch, and those are sort of things, very situational that have to take place over a long period of time. You have to actually get in there and do them. I probably don't need as much sparring, but I don't think my sparring schedule has changed at all. Just twice a week, occasionally 3.
That's good. And now as you're training for Yoel Romero, it's a much different opponent than Nemkov. So are you expecting anything different? Are you expecting him maybe to go for takedowns more, or are you going to expect him to be a little bit more reserved coming out?
No, I'm expecting him to come out and, with fireworks. He's making his debut. He's coming and making a splash. He's trying to make it known he's on the Bellator roster.
Yeah, and I know he was supposed to be in that Grand Prix. You were in that Grand Prix, so could you also be seeing this as, let's say you beat Yoel Romero here, it's a decisive finish there. Could this be like an alternate? Are you seeing it as that way?
I mean, always that. Absolutely. If anything happens, put me in. Absolutely. Put me in the game, coach. I'll send that text message right away, Scott Coker.
With Phil, Mr. Wonderful Davis here on Vibe 105 Sports Vibe Talk segment. And Phil, another thing that's different about this fight is you're not going to be at the Mohegan Sun Casino. You're going to be in San Jose. So like someone like yourself, does that maybe factor into getting in a rhythm, or are you more comfortable with fighting at one place? Or for you, do you see yourself, you need that change of scenery to get the best out of your performance?
It's hard to say. I don't want to say that home field advantage isn't a thing in MMA. It isn't as much. It definitely isn't as much. But there's definitely places that can give you a little bit more advantage over another place. Mohegan Sun, I actually really enjoyed competing there. But if I can get away from, the coast-to-coast travel, I think that's ideal.
And now, just to shift gears here, now, especially around this time of year, colleges start up, universities start up, and you yourself, you were a decorated collegiate athlete there at Penn State. What was it like being a student athlete in college?
Being a student athlete was awesome. It's like starting, for a lot of people start in college, and it's very difficult for them to kind of get set in a rhythm and discover who their friends are. And, when you're on a college sports team, that schedule gets decided for you. And I already have 30 people on my team, and I share a locker room with them. So I already have a set of friends. So it's like it takes a little bit of the college part out of it, and it's a lot of fun, man. It really is.
So what was that grind like being a student athlete? Like, you're in a wrestling team every year, you're going for that national championship. You end up winning the national championship too. So just what was that like, just the day-to-day of being a high-level college athlete?
It's for me, it was and I think for a lot of people, it's finding the areas to add more, to add more. I think most people train twice a day, and trying to decide how to find a place for that third workout where it won't tax your other two workouts. And just kind of build off of that and really push yourself. Definitely wrestling more than other sports is a grind. It just kind of, takes a lot out of you physically. I remember sometimes I would have a 6 a.m. drill and then an 8 a.m. class. Man, do I not miss those days. Out of all the days, I don't miss those days.
That's great. And you won the national championship. You're an NCAA Division I champ. What was that like when you actually won and you achieved your goal in college? As happy and cathartic as I thought that moment would feel, it wasn't that.
It wasn't that. I was definitely happy and overjoyed, but it was very short-lived, and I want more. I wanted more of being a champion, and it was time for me to. I won my senior year, and it was time for me to hunt down that feeling again.
Was it something did you want to go to the Olympics? Did you have aspirations there, or was it MMA right out the gate?
Yeah, it was pretty much MMA right out the gate. If you grow up as an amateur wrestler, there was MMA, but it wasn't a thing. It was not a thing until much later on in life. So obviously the Olympics was always the pinnacle of the sport. And I don't know. I kind of lost interest in it. I still think it's awesome, but I personally lost interest in it after I won a Division I national title.
And, a lot of people bring up too now, like NCAA champions, you go to MMA, you're a champion MMA now. Has a thought ever crossed your mind of going to pro wrestling? You do have that great name, Mr. Wonderful. Was that something that ever crossed your mind?
Man, those dudes get beat up. They get beat up and, maybe. Maybe. For me, I think the biggest part is they spend a lot of days on the road, and I have little ones at home that need to be in their life on a daily basis, and kind of teach them how to be little men. So we'll see.
Yeah. And before we wrap up here, how can we follow you on social media?
Yeah. So you can follow me on Instagram at PhilMRW, Phil Davis on Facebook, Phil Mr. Wonderful on Twitter. No TikTok. I'm not that cool yet. You never know.
That's great. And Phil, I'd like to thank you for sharing your time and coming here on Vibe 105 to talk all things Bellator and your collegiate wrestling days. And I wish you all the best in your fight against Yoel Romero.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That was Phil, Mr. Wonderful Davis. Stick around because I'll play more programming right here on Vibe 105.